Yo, what's poppin', gamers? WQQQQWRT here, guys. You already know who it is. The gamers. We got some crazy stuff today, actually. I wanted to talk about some gameplay stuff, guys. If you're choking, you're throwing everything away, you're choking everything, we're gonna change that today. Okay? We're gonna fix that. I get some powerful advice for you guys. It's gonna upgrade your system, your systemics, your mind, your gameplay. It's gonna hold things to be better, okay? You're gonna be way happier, you're gonna be way cooler. Let's get some food. Let's get some food from the store and then have a real discussion about this stuff. It's gonna upgrade your life. It's gonna upgrade your gameplay. And if you wanna become an alpha gamer, guys, make sure to subscribe right now. Make sure to hit the subscribe button. Make sure to hit the like button, gamers, okay? It's gonna create more, better gameplay for you. You're gonna stop losing. You're gonna start winning. A lot of winning, no more losing. No more losing, never again, okay? You'll never lose in your life again, all right? You're gonna start winning way too much. You're gonna win in more ways, in different ways, healthier ways, more productive ways. And you're gonna predict you're winning. You're gonna predict that you win, you're gonna win, and then you're gonna get some more additional capital winning on top of that for free, and it's gonna be blow your freaking mind, okay? So yeah, let's go right into this, guys. Yo, what's up, guys? I'm here at the store. You got some sushi, you can eat that. But gamers, let's talk about what's really important here, and this has to do with choking. And we're gonna stop choking, okay? No more choking. And also, we're gonna talk about the Alpha Gamer Improvement Project. It's like, I'm trying to get people to improve their gameplay and their lives so much. It's so radical, it's so crazy. Let's get into that, okay, a little bit. Okay, guys, here's the truth about choking. When you choke, and I know it sucks. I mean, it sucks. Like, sometimes choking is worse than all the other problems in the gaming world. But when you choke, you gotta realize that that was predetermined. That was gonna happen regardless, and it's because the way you think creates results, it creates behaviors. And those behaviors, if they're not optimized, they're not like incredibly clean and efficient, you're inevitably gonna make the same mistakes over and over again. And frequently, you'll see people choke. It's one of these mistakes that they kind of run into. It's like, it's inevitable though. So people, they get really upset when they choke and they're like, I could have avoided that. Because when you choke, it's usually big. It's like you fall off a cliff. Like if you walk down like one step, if you fall down a little bit, it's not that big. You can get back up, you can kind of recover or ignore the mistakes. But when you fall down a cliff, I mean, you lose a lot. So people get really choked up about this, but it's kind of inevitable. It's kind of an inevitable thing. So you kind of have to understand that, and then that's gonna help out, and you're also gonna be able to create strats around that. Yeah, personally, I like to think of it as like if you're walking somewhere, point A to point B, and there's all these challenges and obstacles, and depending on how good your gameplay is, you're gonna be able to handle those challenges and obstacles. And a choke is eventually when there's just like a gigantic cliff and you just walk off and then fall down. Well, if you don't have good gameplay, it doesn't matter how good you play or how lucky you get, like you're inevitably just gonna fall off the cliff and you lose your run. So you really want your gameplay to be as good as possible, be aware of stuff like that, so that you stop doing that or do that much less. So I want to talk about the Alpha Gamer Project and the Natural Gameplay Project. So I'm gonna change it slightly. I don't know if we're gonna follow individual people because I want to do that, but like I just don't think it's gonna work, guys. So we're gonna scrap that idea. What we're gonna do though, and this is big, what we're gonna do is I want people that are motivated. You need to start looking for and finding specific, guaranteed gameplay improvement strategies, like gameplay elements, like just little things, like how you mash text for text mash if you're speedrunning. How you, like if you're playing League of Legends, like how you get in and out of the shop. You know, how you right click, how you auto attack enemies, how you press certain buttons down, how you approach certain strategies, like certain combos. Just very, very small stuff. You need to be slightly improved. So it needs to be slight improvement in two aspects. It needs to be better, and it needs to be more reliable. So let's say you find a strategy that's faster, but not more reliable. We don't know if that's better, right? If you find a strategy that's better, or it's more reliable, but it's not necessarily faster, again, we don't know if that's better. Now, if you find a strategy that's the same speed, but it's more reliable, like I would say that's better, right? If you find a strategy that's slightly faster and slightly more reliable, hey, I would say that's better too. That's big, and now guys, it might sound like really hard to find little strategies like this, but there's hundreds of thousands of them, or millions of them, they're all over the place. You just actually have to look for that stuff. Like most people, they're not looking for reliable strategy upgrades that they can implement into their gameplay. They're looking for, I don't know, like good RNG, or they're trying to get lucky. Throw that stuff out the window. We're looking for controllable, guaranteed improvements to your gameplay. And once you get good at finding these things, you can find them all over the place. and you can start rapidly improving your gameplay. The other thing we need to do is you need to simplify your gameplay. You need to really simplify your gameplay. This is gonna help out in two things. It's gonna help find strategy upgrades. If your gameplay is too complex, like you're playing at theoretical peak gameplay, and you're trying to do everything theoretically peak, and like if you got a perfect run, you'd be the best player in the world. You're not simplified enough. Like you're way too out there, right? This is way too theoretical. It's never gonna work in a real run, and it's also impossible to actually improve your gameplay, right? It's impossible to find guaranteed strategy upgrades in your gameplay because you're already doing, in your mind, you're doing everything perfectly, but in reality, you're not getting good time. So it's like, okay, you're not doing things correctly, and the way you're thinking, you can't even find strategy upgrades. This is a really bad situation. But on the bright side, you know, simplify things, clean things up, radically clean things up, radically simplify things, and make things actually stable and consistent. Make them reliable. If they're unreliable, if you have inconsistent strats or unstable strats, just scrap them. This doesn't matter if you're speedrunning, if you're playing a fighting game, if you're playing MOBA, first-person shooter, like it doesn't matter. In fact, I mean, there's stuff like in first-person shooters, like you can simplify and find reliable strategy upgrades, even in just like aiming and how you aim, you know. So I mean, there's so many examples of this stuff. Like if you're not able to find strategy upgrades like this, you need to DM me, or you need to make a comment and say, and we need to have a conversation about this, because you should be able to find 5 or 10 or 50 of these upgrades almost instantly. You should be messaging me about that, and we should be able to work through that. Now, yeah, the other thing we need to do here, when you simplify your gameplay, make it very stable, very reliable, and very simple, you can start implementing these strategy upgrades. But this number 2 thing you get is you actually develop a need for better gameplay. This is huge. What you're going to do is you're going to peak out. If you have a very simple baseline of gameplay, I mean very simple, very dumb, very much under what you could do, you're going to peak out very quickly. And then you're actually going to develop a need for better strategies. And this is huge because now you can start playing around with more riskier strategies with higher reward. And you can actually start to figure out how to guarantee this happen, make those happen, make those acceptable, or make those functional. Now guys, this is big because a lot of people think, well, consistency is the way to go. This isn't true. In almost everything, if you're the most consistent player, you're usually not the best player, right? If you're the best player, you can be the most consistent player, but rarely the other way around it works. The other reason is because reliability, I used to criticize reliability versus consistency, and I would say that you don't want to be consistent, you want to be reliable. I'm going back to that. But there's 2 reasons. Number 1, consistency, it's a measure of results. It's not a measure of how good you are at something, right? It's a measure of results. So if you're playing very high peaks, like you're feeling good, you got good momentum, good energy, you're gonna be more consistent, and that's not reproducible, so that's bad, right? Number 2 is because in a lot of strategies, they can be more complex, and more consistent and more complex, right? But what happens is the reliability goes down and the consistency goes up. And I've noticed in my experience, the strategies aren't equal, right? And I actually think there's a home for both strategies. But like, for example, in A Link to the Past, right at the end of the run, you have to light a torch, and if you light the torch, you save like a minute. Let's just say you save a minute, right? There's 2 different ways to light the torch. You can use an item called the fire rod. It's way harder. The window for getting this is way lower, and you have to time it. Or you can use the lamp, and with the lamp you can just spam the button. Much larger window, you don't have to time it. It seems a lot easier to use the lamp, right? It's way more consistent. Now it's a lot slower to use the lamp, but it's way more consistent. I mean, there's almost no way you can argue that. But it's actually, in my opinion, in a lot of cases, less reliable because it requires opening the menu up, switching to the lamp, closing the menu, and then actually picking one of like 2 different strategies. You can either try to time it, you can spam it. So this actually effectively requires way more inputs. With the fire rod strategy, it's a 1 input strategy. There's no menuing. Well, there's a menu, but it's 2 less menus, and you can only time it. There's no way to. Well, you can only react. There's no way to spam it. Timing is not really a thing. Like, you can only react. So what that means is there's 1 strategy, and you have to get good at that strategy. And it's like 5 inputs instead of 30 inputs. So it ends up being more reliable because it's actually easier to execute under pressure. There's less to think about, there's less to worry about. So you have a strategy here that's less consistent but more reliable, and this is why I don't like this consistency argument. Huge fan of the reliability argument. And if you guys have any experience speedrunning or playing competitive games, you'll quickly learn that trying to do safe strats oftentimes just kills your run because you're not experienced with them, or for whatever reason they're not safe. You know, it's the type of thing where like choking is illogical. You know, choking's not a logical thing. Like you get really under a lot of pressure and then you mess up and you make the dumbest mistakes, right? It's not logical. So when you're dealing with stuff that's illogical and you think, okay, I'll do the safe, consistent strat, well, logic goes out the window. Like your safe strat is not necessarily safe. Now there is actually logic, but that logic's more complex than simply like, oh, this is safer and it's more consistent, therefore it's better. This whole reliability aspect becomes a big thing. And you're gonna have to learn how to capitalize and look for this reliability thing. And you're gonna get there by simplifying your gameplay really radically. Like we really radically need your gameplay to be really simple. And then what you're gonna do is try to find these very clear, very clean gameplay upgrades. They're very small a lot of the times. They can be bigger, but generally they're very small. It's minor mechanics like how you press buttons, you know, very simple strategy stuff like like doing an input a frame later or a frame earlier, or adding a few frames of leeway, how you mash text, how you hold the mouse or hold the controller. I mean, recently in A Link to the Past, I realized you have to do a same frame 2-button input. So I have to press the up button and the A button on the same frame, right? I learned that if I am putting my knees together and I'm leaning forward, I have a way higher level of consistency and reliability in this strategy. Way higher success rate if I'm leaning forward, simply because I'm actually putting more pressure on the controller and it's easier to get that same frame input. When you're putting less pressure on the controller, sometimes the one button goes before the other, right? I went from like 50% to like 85, 95%. Hey, that's pretty big, right? That's a minor strategy upgrade, super minor. And part of the reason I learned that is because I simplified everything radically, and then I'm looking for these small upgrades. Really small, guaranteed upgrades. I'm not really implementing stuff that's like potentially better and I just don't know. I actually do all the time. That's that next step. When you kind of peak out and you need to save time, like you get a really good run and it's like, oh, I need to PB and world record's 2 minutes away. You can PB. Well, we want to implement those small upgrades. We want to look for, you want to start experimenting at that point, right? But you want to peak out first. You want to develop that need. Without a need, like you don't know what you're doing. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching my video on gameplay development, strategy upgrades. If you are looking to get better at games, like you can do it. Any game doesn't matter. If you're looking to get better at any behavior, you can do it. Okay, there's a truth. It's called natural gameplay. It's literally the truth to gameplay. It's the truth to success. It's the truth to self-development, improvement, and behaviors. And strategizing your behaviors and winning. It's a winning formula. I've done it in tons of different things. I'm winning right now every day. And I need you to start winning too. Make sure to subscribe, join the WQ Army, join the Alpha Gamer Army, become an Alpha Gamer, naturalize your gameplay, guys. It's game changing, it's huge. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow. We're leaving. Peace and out. Hope you guys had a real one.